Hey, good morning, Bella Vista. It's JB Portillo here with the TV station and my good buddy, Mayor Flynn. How are you today?
Great. It's
You
great
know,
to be here.
Well, it's always fun. I look forward to this because you always have something interesting to say.
Yeah.
Yes. But the first thing, you kind of have a little bit of a solemn moment here. Could you tell us about?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that our very first mayor, Frank Anderson, had passed away last week on September 12th. And, he was the very first mayor of Bella Vista. He was in the Air Force for 28 years, was our mayor for 8 years, and was on city council for 4 years. And prior to being mayor, my understanding is he was very active in the POA, which of course was managing the city back then. So, it was a great loss, and he certainly had a big part in getting Bella Vista started as a city. The funeral is going to be Saturday, September 28 at 11 a.m. It's at United Lutheran Church, which is the church at the corner of Cooper and Forest Hills.
Yes,
So
yes.
just thought I'd mention that for people because it's certainly a solemn moment, but an important moment in the history of Bella Vista.
That's right.
Yeah.
So those two Chevy Tahoes keep turning up. What's going on with those Tahoes?
Yeah, the police do. I was on my listing of what's happening at City Council. The police department has a couple Chevy Tahoes. The older vehicles age out, and they usually run them 110, 120,000 miles. And so we kind of have a steady stream of new vehicles being needed, and that's one item we have on there. The next item was the alcohol permit for the new driving range the POA is putting together. It's got, they're going to have some food service and also some alcohol. And I guess because it's technically a private club, we need an ordinance from the city council before they go or as part of the process, they go into the authorities to get the liquor permit.
Yeah, the POA has two new openings in the next little while. The new restaurant, BV 65, is opening. And for some reason, the state alcohol laws are tighter or something than they used to be. So even with that restaurant, we had to do a separate, like we've never had a liquor license before.
Yeah.
We had to do something there. But the thing with the driving range was that there's not a restaurant there. Mm-hmm. So there's another law, blah, blah, blah. And then, as you know, we discovered that city ordinance has an issue with something like that. So thank you for you and the council for making sure that those guys can have their beers on that driving range when it opens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really nice. I'm actually kind of looking forward to BV 65 in the driving range. I think it'll be a big plus for the community.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We got all kinds of new things going on here. I've seen and appreciate so much all the city vehicles picking up the dead debris from the last storm. What's up with all of that?
Yeah, that was quite a storm. We do have on the city council docket $10,000 for part of the street debris cleanup. That was for an equipment rental for some specialized equipment. But the total amount the street department asked for was $150,000, and they anticipate they're going to spend less than that. They think maybe 70 or 80. But boy, it was a big storm, and as you know, it's just in certain areas of the city, probably where you live, out on the west side.
Yes.
And but when they counted it up, there was something like 400 streets that had, so it was pretty significant damage, and it came right before the computer outage also that we had. We had some hackers on the computer, so it was like one thing after another there that weekend. But speaking of that, I didn't put that on the list, but that has pretty much been put to bed. We were fortunate that we discovered it very early on. We had actually our IT department was very ready for this kind of intrusion. It's become so common. And so we have a company that looks for hackers 24/7, and they discovered it really early on a Sunday night. And so it was a lot of work for the IT department. We actually weren't we didn't have our computers shut down. We shut them down voluntarily so a virus wouldn't spread. And but it was a lot of work for our IT department, but we've got through it, and everything's back up and running like it should be. So we feel good about that. I felt good about it from the point of view it wasn't too bad for us, and it was a great learning experience.
Yes.
For our IT guys were very cognizant of cybersecurity threats. But, you know, that whole time, once it was discovered, they were working with the outside experts on it. And so I think it was a great experience for them, and they might describe it a different way. They're working quite a few hours.
Absolutely. You know, I just wonder, and maybe I should know this, but I don't. Do we have something in our city ordinances about that, or a resolution or a procedure or something that, because things like this happen even more and more and more now. Mm-hmm. Is there something in the works, or is that already covered somewhere?
Yeah, well, we kind of have some things in place, you know, emergency plans that kind of cover all kinds of different things. And we do have backup on everything in our system. Mm-hmm. But what I found is there's certain things, like, for instance, our payroll is with an outside vendor, mm-hmm. so it wasn't affected by this at all. And you know, there's certain programs or things we had that were outside the system, so that kind of comes in handy. And it was kind of encouraging that the police and fire were able to operate, fire and EMS, operate even without the system.
And dispatch was not affected.
Yeah. In some ways, they, you know, started doing things old school, because they have some computer things that, you know, help them and direct them to locations and tell them certain things to do just automatically. Mm-hmm. And so all that, they had to do the old-fashioned way with the dispatcher saying, you know, telling them what was what. But it's encouraging that those emergency things can go on no matter what, because that's, you know, one of the most crucial things.
You know, it's funny you say that. Everything is really electronic now and all of this. And on a kind of a similar note, I'm one of the old-time accountants that can still do a ledger if I have to.
Yeah.
Everything isn't automatically. I know how to do it without the stuff. And it's good to have that refresher with people like the police and the dispatch to make sure that nothing ever gets shut down.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so now, the millage rate again for the year.
Yeah, this actually is arguably the most important thing we do every year. What happens is the county sends me a letter and says, hey, we need to know what your millage is by October 20. And if you don't tell them, you don't get any property tax money that year.
Whoa.
So we have that on the docket for this Monday's meeting. And our millage was 5.5 mils, mm-hmm. and now it's going to be 6.0. There's 4 mills that have been passed a number of years ago which don't require voter approval. You can go up to 5 mills without voter approval. We've only gone up to 4. And then there's 1 mill for the fire department pension, and now we have 1 mill for the police pension. It was half a mill, but last March the voters approved the other half mill for the police. So council will be passing that it'll be 6 mills. They're still restraining themselves as to that.
Are they?
Yeah, that one other mill. So.
Well, but John, sorry, Mayor Flynn, the word millage is so confusing to people. What mm-hmm. is that, kind of an allocation?
Yeah, well, it's actually,
what is it?
A mill actually means 1/1000th. So it is 1/10 of 1%. If you think about it, 1% is 1 out of 100. Mm-hmm. So a mill is 1/10 of 1%, meaning it actually is 1/1000th.
Yeah.
Hard to say that. So so that's just the nomination they use. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think. I think the total property tax bill, if you live in the Bentonville School District, is right around 60 mills. And only 5 or 6 of it, well, 6 now, goes to the city. The great majority goes to schools, the way Arkansas is set up. And some goes to the county, but the great majority is to the school system. So the city just gets a little tiny portion. So really, the average house in Bella Vista, the city might get $200 of your property tax. And a lot of times it's $2,000, $3,000, something like that. So most of it goes somewhere else.
Yes, but it is tied with property tax, so that
Yeah.
helps. That helps explain
Yeah.
it to people like me that
Yeah.
can't remember what all that means. Okay, so now I know that we're getting ready to do some updates on the art trail or the new.
Over on Reardon Road, the Bluebird Sculpture Trail, I think I've heard we may change the name of that park to Treehouse Park.
Treehouse Park, yeah.
Because there is a really nice big treehouse there, and I think they're planning to add on to that even. Anyway, this is getting the 3 leases lined up. This is for the 3 sculptures next June already. They're planning ahead, but we need City Council to approve the leases, and it's got to be more and more cities are doing things like this. So it's a little more competitive getting the sculptures. So we kind of needed to get the artists nailed down way ahead of time.
Exactly.
So that's why it's on the docket.
Well, I'll be glad to see. The Arts Council always does a good job of helping select something that's applicable to that park.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they try to get things I think that people would enjoy and maybe not stray too much into the wild, abstract area.
Yeah.
So that's always a lot of fun, definitely. So.
Okay, well, I tell you what, let's talk about, is there anything else we need to talk about before we talk about what's upcoming? So anyway, let's talk about the city council meeting. That's Monday night, this coming Monday night, which is what date? My brain doesn't
That would
date.
be the 23rd, September 23rd.
September 23rd.
At 6 p.m., yeah.
It is always good. I'm glad we are recording those, and a lot of people are beginning to watch them from home, but it still would be nice to have seats filled for people to come in and actually see what's going on. So we invite you, don't we?
Yeah.
To that council meeting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see it in person, I think. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's good to have people come that way, and yeah. So I was going to talk a bit about some of the upcoming things that are coming up. The Sugar Creek Bridge, that's the one near on Lancashire, right near 71, is getting very close to completion now.
You tell me that every month.
But this time it really is if you look at it.
I know it's.
Actually, when I was driving over here today, they had a bunch of new yellow lines and whatnot.
Oh, good.
Pretty elaborate lines on Lancashire there. Right where Lancashire and Chelsea intersect, they had all the new lines down for the left turn lane and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Good.
So people like that when they get the fresh striping because it's way easier to see, especially at night.
Yes.
People comment to me on that quite a bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
I noticed the barrels are slowly going away.
Yeah. So
Sidewalks are in.
Yeah, I believe it'll be done early October.
Okay.
So.
All right. I don't want to see it on here again next year.
All right.
I mean, next month.
Yeah.
No, and in all seriousness, it takes time, and it is beautiful.
Yeah, they do a nice job.
The sidewalks, even there in front of the city hall, there's work being done there, driveways and things.
Yeah.
What's happening there? Just is that part of the bridge up the street?
It was sort of connected to it. Yeah, they're fixing up the apron there where people drive in and out because it's got to be pretty wide, it takes the fire trucks and that sort of thing. So that's not quite complete. But yeah, they have a little sidewalk in there and looked like they seeded for grass the other day. So
that's good.
Yeah. So next item is fire station number 1. Speaking of that area, the area where the firemen are is going to be ready for move-in right around October 1.
Okay.
So that's the living quarters in fire station number 1. So when that happens in early November, we're going to have CDS Community Development, which now is over. We're leasing space over by Table Bella
Yes.
off Lancashire. They're going to move in. Temporarily, they're going to be over there where the fire living quarters used to be.
Okay.
So we'll all be together there, which people are really enthused about.
As early as
Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So
Because I think your lease is up or something.
yeah, as of November 30, we won't be leasing any property. Then all the employees will be on owned property.
Okay.
So we feel good about that. And CDS is going to move into that old fire, and then City Hall and the fire chief offices, those are the offices where you can see the steel out front now. Those should be ready around May or June of 2025. So they'll be working on those throughout the winter. And when those are done, then we're going to fix up the old City Hall for the CDS employees. And they'll be in the old City Hall. And then the final stage is they've got 3 bays right now. They're going to have 5 bays, add a couple that are taller and longer than the ones they have now. So it'll be a really nice facility when it's all done. And one thing I think is important, it'll look a lot better from the outside. You can kind of tell the part they've finished over on the one side. You can see it from the freeway. You know, it's nice looking brick. Because I do think it's important to have good aesthetics and put on a good appearance.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, that's an old POA building, and you guys have taken it and made it a little bit more uptown now.
Yeah, it goes back quite a way. It was built in different eras. Some of it goes back to the 1970s and some of the 1980s. And but the inherent structure, the iron was good on the old police station, so that's why they decided to refurbish that rather than build something new.
Good bones.
Yeah.
Good bones.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, so looks like that October the 1st, there's a special meeting. Tell us about what that's all about.
Yeah, you know, we are getting a bond issue. It's called a revenue bond, and it's $5.4 million, and it's for 10 years. So what happens with bonds, if there's a sales tax involved, then the voters have to vote on it. And in this case, the bond is secured by our franchise fees.
Okay.
And our franchise fees are about $2 million a year. And the payments on this bond will only be about $700,000. So the bondholders like that. You know, they have a lot of cushion, so to speak. So they're confident we can make the payments. They're just taking, so technically they have a security interest in the franchise fees. But we just pay it just like you would anything, you know, make payments every year. And the point of that is to finance the construction that's going on there. We could have paid cash for it, but we thought it might be a better idea to finance it. Interest rates are good. The city tends to get better interest rates because it's tax-free bonds, tax-free to the purchaser of the bonds. So, you know, we're going to go out for bids the next week or so, and it looks like the interest rate will be about 4%.
Okay.
And we can actually earn more than 4% on our CDs and whatnot. So.
And, you know, that's what a lot of people don't understand, and I keep bringing this up both at the POA and with the city. Many times it is more, it's better to borrow. And in this case, it's the same thing. You know, instead of just paying all the money out of our coffers, you're really getting a better deal by borrowing.
Yeah, and we feel like it's more conservative to have have a healthy balance of money and do it this way.
That's right.
So, but the reason that's a special meeting on October 1 is you had to get the notice in the newspaper and have so many days notice for this and that, so we couldn't really do it when our regular council meeting was. So, so it's also a public hearing, so citizens can come and speak their piece. As you know, a lot of times with the Planning Commission, you'll have a public hearing and no one speaks. So
I know, but
yeah.
you go through the motions
So you
and
need to
people
give
have
them
a
the
chance.
opportunity. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our first youth council meeting, September 23rd. Wow.
Yeah, that's the day for our first meeting. We were going to have them come and view the council meeting. So we're getting together at 5, going to meet each other and kind of go over some things. And we got a group of 10 young people. They're juniors and seniors in high school. And most of them are from Bentonville High School. A couple are homeschooled. One's from Thaden School. It's a private school. And I believe one's from Bentonville West. So they just have to be juniors or seniors and live in Bella Vista. But yeah, we're pretty enthused about it. This is kind of a newer concept that Arkansas Municipal League has really been enthused about. And you know, our city clerk, Wanda Krug, was really instrumental in this. She used to be a school teacher, so she has a real passion for that. And you know, we think it'd be a great idea to have kids, you know, get involved in local government and see what goes on. I told her after I thought about it a while, you know, they're going to meet once a month throughout the school year. And I told her, you know, after 3 meetings, they'll know more about city government than their parents do.
Probably.
Because most people get up in the morning, go to work, and
That's it.
don't think about
They
it
forget
a lot,
about
right?
it. That's it. That's it. Okay, so you're also doing another thing on the 28th for Kids Day at the Fire Training Facility, correct?
Yeah, that's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's at the fire training facility. You know, the fire folks will have their trucks out and things like that. I think that'll be a fun time. Kids usually really enjoy that. And one thing our fire department and police department both do so well is community outreach. You know, they really stay in touch with the community, and I think it's a great thing. It's very helpful. And but
I think they had a Touch the Truck event at Sunday's Farmers Market.
Yeah.
So that's part of that community.
That's usually pretty popular.
Yeah. Did you go touch a truck?
No, I wasn't there that day.
You touch them
so,
enough. You don't need to worry about it, right? You pay for them. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a few minutes left, but let's talk about this upcoming election. This is a critical year on all levels, but even for the City Council, November the 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us the structure of that.
Yeah, and I wanted to just bring that up because there are 3 council positions open in Bella Vista. You know, people think about the presidential election and that sort of thing, but we do have those local folks running. So there's 1 in each ward, and the election is on November 5th, and we all have early voting as usual 2 weeks before that.
I think it starts on October 19th.
Yeah. And that's normally kind of a Monday through Friday type thing, and makes it really easy to vote. You know, sometimes presidential elections can get pretty crowded, so I think it's a pretty good idea to go to the early voting.
It is, and for early voting, there are 2 locations in Bella Vista. One of them is the community church, and the other one is at the old Reardon Hall, or the rec.
Oh, are they going back to the rec again?
Yes, yes, with a little more room than they had last year.
Yeah.
And then there will be 5 locations, I think, on Election Day. So there's plenty of time for people to keep the crowd controlled.
Yeah.
All of that sort of thing.
Plus, they, you know, they're pretty liberal in Arkansas now. I mean, you can vote anywhere in the county. If you happen to be in downtown Bentonville and feel like voting, you could vote. Although,
and what you're allowed to vote on follows you. It's all about your address. So when you log in, or when somebody logs you in at the poll, they know that you get to vote. In this year, we have 3 issues on the ballot for Bella Vista. We've got the city council people and probably some justice of the peace and some, you know, whatever you in your area are allowed to vote on, that's what you get to vote on.
Yeah, no matter where you are, that's right. It's able to find you and figure out you know, what precinct you're in and all that sort of thing.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the TV station is doing an official, but we're recording all the new candidates by ward, and we're going to be releasing all 9 candidates for everybody to look at on by the 20th, which is this coming Friday.
Yeah.
It's going really well. I noticed you came last night to one of the recordings. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I came and watched, and I thought it was really smooth. I wouldn't call it a debate. It's more like a candidate forum.
It is.
But they have questions, and all the people get to speak and answer them. So it is kind of helpful to see people speak and see, what some of their thoughts are about the city. Help you decide who to vote for.
Well, that's right.
So that must be 3 different shows then.
Well, we're going to probably combine it. We'll have it maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for it, but I think we'll combine it because that gets a little long with 9. So it's done by ward so that if you want to watch them separately, you can.
Yeah.
Or that sort of thing. So that's coming up, and that'll be out there for everybody. We need to really promote it. Another thing that has not been officially announced yet, but is upcoming, is yet another sort of forum by the League of Women Voters here. And that will be, I believe the date is October 7th. Watch, because you're going to be getting emails and things about this. Mm-hmm. And it will be more of a community. Let's all go and physically meet the candidates. Mm-hmm. So there'll be a moderator there, and a poll will go out to all the citizens in the city with a chance for them to decide on what types of questions will be asked.
Oh, I see.
There will not be an open mic.
Yeah.
That's kind of dangerous. But the fact that the polls are available and that you can, it's all coming down the pike.
Yeah.
So let's look forward to that.
Yeah. And
I think it's going to be a great year. And just a reminder for people, those wards, they're done for representation of the city. Mm-hmm. But all those people are at large. They don't just control their ward or work with their ward.
Yeah, so if you live in Bella Vista, you vote for all 3 wards. And so there's a fair amount of homework to do to figure out who's who. And there's 4 people running in Ward 1, which is mainly on the east side, and 2 people in Ward 2, and 3 people in Ward 3.
Yes.
And there's a couple in that group. There's a couple of incumbents running, and a lot of new folks. It's one of the things great about Bella Vista. We never have people unopposed for council, and we always have people willing to run. People like to have a choice, so that's good.
Yes.
That we have people willing to step out there and put their hat in the ring.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap this up for today. You have anything else you'd like to say? Your parting words for today?
Well, I would mention, I think sometime later this fall, there's going to be a public meeting about, about the code reform and rezoning, and to get the public's input on that. That's with our consultant out of Tulsa. And we don't have dates on these yet. And Blue Crane had indicated they were thinking sometime before the end of the year they would have a public meeting and go over what some of their plans were. So there's a lot of chances for citizens to learn about things and also to give their input, put in your 2 cents worth. The point of the public meeting is to get feedback from people.
That's right. So. That's right. All right, well, thank you. One more time, we have let people in Bella Vista know what's going on in the city. We appreciate you and the City Council, and we will see you next month.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll see you soon.